In the small, misty village of Domremy, nestled in the lush countryside of northeastern France, life moved at a gentle pace, untouched by the grandeur of cities but not by the shadows of war. The villagers, mostly farmers and shepherds, rose with the sun and toiled in the fields, their days marked by the rhythm of the seasons and the ever-present uncertainty of the times. It was here, in 1412, that Joan of Arc was born into a world already trembling with conflict. Her arrival was humble, in a modest cottage, surrounded by the simple joys and struggles of peasant life. The cries of a newborn mingled with the distant echoes of unrest, as France was gripped by the 100 Years' War, a brutal struggle that had raged for generations. The war's chaos was never far away. Armies marched across the land, leaving behind scorched fields and shattered homes. The countryside, once peaceful, was now scarred by the passage of soldiers and the smoke of distant battles. For the people of Domremy, fear and uncertainty became a part of daily life. France itself was a nation divided, torn apart not only by the English invaders but also by internal strife. Villages were split by loyalties, with neighbors sometimes turning against each other. The endless conflict left its people weary, their spirits battered by years of hardship and loss. Joan grew up in this world of hardship and uncertainty, the daughter of Jacques and Isabelle, humble farmers who worked tirelessly to provide for their family. From a young age, Joan learned the value of hard work, helping her parents tend the fields and care for their animals. She witnessed firsthand the struggles of rural life, where every harvest was uncertain and every day brought new challenges. Yet, within the walls of their simple home, Joan's parents instilled in her a deep sense of faith and duty. Evenings were spent in prayer, seeking comfort and guidance from God. Her mother taught her compassion and kindness, while her father showed her the importance of perseverance and honesty. These values became the foundation of Joan's character, shaping her into a young woman of remarkable conviction. The devastation of war was a constant presence. English and Burgundian forces threatened the surrounding lands, their raids bringing destruction and fear. Villagers watched helplessly as their homes were burned and their loved ones taken. The sense of danger was ever present, casting a long shadow over Joan's childhood. Despite the fear and suffering, Joan's spirit remained unbroken. She found strength in her faith and in the resilience of her community. The hardships she endured only deepened her resolve, forging a sense of purpose that would one day inspire a nation. In the face of adversity, hope flickered in the hearts of Domreme's people, and in Joan, that hope burned brightest. In this turbulent environment shaped by suffering and hope, the seeds of Joan's extraordinary destiny were sown. The trials of her youth would prepare her for the challenges ahead, setting the stage for a journey that would change the course of history. Joan's childhood was marked by devout faith and a simple rural life. Even as she worked the fields, her thoughts often turned to the divine. At 13, Joan began experiencing visions, profound encounters with Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret. These voices gave her a mission: drive out the English and see Charles VII crowned king. The visions were both overwhelming and comforting, guiding her through uncertainty. Joan kept these experiences secret at first, struggling to understand their meaning. Yet her faith never wavered, and the call to action grew stronger. These visions would launch her on a path that would change France forever. The voices that Joan heard were not mere whispers of hope or fleeting dreams. They were powerful, commanding presences that filled her with awe and purpose. These voices, which she believed to be those of saints and angels, spoke to her with a clarity and authority that left no room for doubt. They did not offer gentle guidance or comforting words. They issued direct commands, urging her to take action, to rise above her humble origins, and to embrace a destiny that seemed impossible for a young peasant girl. From the moment she first heard them, Joan felt a profound sense of responsibility. The voices told her that she was chosen for a sacred mission, to save France from its enemies and to restore the rightful king to the throne. This was not a suggestion or a request. It was a divine command that demanded her full devotion and courage. Even as she knelt in prayer, wrestling with fear and uncertainty, the voices remained insistent, pushing her forward. Joan's faith in these voices became the foundation of her strength. She believed with every fiber of her being that she was chosen by God to lead France in its darkest hour. Her conviction was unshakable, even as those around her doubted her claims and questioned her sanity. In the quiet of the church, surrounded by flickering candlelight and the watchful eyes of saints depicted in stained glass, Joan found the courage to accept her calling. Life in her village was simple, and the idea of a peasant girl leading armies and speaking with kings was unthinkable to most. Yet Joan's unwavering belief set her apart. She faced skepticism, ridicule, and even hostility from her neighbors, who could not understand how someone like her could be chosen for such a monumental task. But Joan's resolve only grew stronger in the face of doubt. She stood tall, her eyes fixed on a future that only she could see, determined to fulfill the mission entrusted to her by the divine. The idea of a peasant girl leading an army seemed impossible, but Joan's faith inspired others. Her charisma and resolve began to win over skeptics, drawing supporters to her cause. As word of her visions and determination spread, people from all walks of life began to rally behind her. Soldiers, villagers, and even some nobles found themselves captivated by her passion and certainty. Joan's presence ignited hope in a country weary from years of war and despair. Joan knew she had to convince Charles VII of her divine mission and rally an army. Her unwavering belief became her guiding light. She journeyed across war-torn lands, braving danger and suspicion, determined to reach the Dauphin and deliver the message entrusted to her by the Voices. Each step she took was a testament to her faith and her willingness to sacrifice everything for her country and her king. The fate of France now rested on her shoulders. Joan's journey was just beginning, but already she had become a symbol of hope and courage. With the weight of a nation pressing down upon her, she prepared to face the challenges ahead, guided by the divine voices that had called her to greatness. In the harsh winter of 1428, a young peasant girl named Joan of Arc embarked on a journey that would change the course of history. Disguised in men's clothing for her own safety, she left her small village behind, determined to reach the royal court of Charles VII. The roads ahead were fraught with danger, enemy patrols, treacherous terrain, and the ever-present threat of discovery. Yet, Joan pressed on, her heart filled with a sense of purpose that few could understand. Every mile she traveled was a testament to her courage and unwavering faith. Crossing enemy territory was no small feat. The land was torn by war, and every village she passed through bore scars of conflict. Joan was driven by her visions, mysterious voices she believed were sent by God urging her onward. Her determination was unshakable, even as exhaustion and fear threatened to overwhelm her. She traveled mostly by night, relying on the kindness of strangers and the guidance of her faith to keep her safe. Each step brought her closer to Chinon, and to the destiny she believed awaited her. When Joan finally arrived at the court in Chinon, she was met with skepticism and curiosity. The royal court was a world apart from her humble beginnings. Yet, as she stood before Charles VII, her sincerity and knowledge of his secret prayers astonished him. She spoke with conviction, recounting her visions and her mission to save France. Her words resonated deeply, and Charles, desperate for hope in a time of despair, found himself moved by this unlikely messenger. The court buzzed with debate. Some saw Joan as a beacon of hope, while others doubted her claims. But Charles, facing mounting pressure and dwindling options, decided to take a chance. He allowed Joan to join the relief army headed to Orléans, a city under siege and on the brink of falling to enemy forces. This decision would prove to be a turning point, not just for Joan, but for the fate of France itself. Among the seasoned soldiers, Joan faced open skepticism and even ridicule. Many could not believe that a young woman, let alone a peasant, could lead them into battle. But Joan's conviction was infectious. She spoke with a clarity and passion that began to sway even the most hardened warriors. Her faith in her divine mission inspired those around her to believe that perhaps against all odds, victory was possible. Through her leadership and unwavering faith, Joan transformed from an outsider into a respected commander. She led by example, sharing in the hardships of her troops and never wavering in her resolve. Her courage on the battlefield and her ability to inspire hope in others quickly earned her the loyalty of those she led. Joan's rise was nothing short of extraordinary, a testament to the power of belief and the strength of the human spirit. Joan's acceptance at court marked the beginning of her transformation from a simple peasant girl to a warrior and leader. The royal court, once skeptical, now looked to her for guidance and inspiration. Her journey had only just begun, but already she had defied expectations and proven that greatness can come from the most unlikely of places. With her newfound position, Joan was now poised to fulfill the divine mission she believed had been entrusted to her. The weight of her responsibility was immense, but so too was her resolve. She prepared herself for the battles ahead, knowing that the fate of her country rested on her shoulders. The journey to Chinon was only the first step in a much larger story, one that would see Joan of Arc rise from obscurity to become a symbol of hope and courage for all of France. Her bold journey to the royal court set in motion a series of events that would change the fate of a nation forever. The siege of Orléans was a turning point in the war, and Joan's arrival changed everything. French morale soared as Joan inspired the troops with her faith and courage. Her strategic insights and bold tactics helped lift the siege, despite her lack of military training. Joan led from the front, rallying her men and driving the English back. The victory at Orléans cemented her reputation as a divinely inspired leader. This triumph marked the beginning of a new era for France. Joan's success set the stage for further victories and hope for her nation. After Orléans, Joan's mission shifted to ensuring Charles VII's coronation at Reims. The journey was dangerous, but Joan's presence emboldened the troops. Against the odds, they reached Reims, and Charles was crowned on July 17, 1429, with Joan by his side. Her role in the ceremony was unprecedented, elevating her status across France. Joan became a symbol of hope and divine intervention, celebrated as the Maid of Orléans. Her influence extended beyond the battlefield, but her rise also attracted powerful enemies. The coronation was a high point, but new challenges loomed. Joan's journey was far from over. Joan's fortunes declined after the coronation, as political intrigue and shifting alliances threatened her mission. In 1430, during the defense of Compiègne, she was captured by Burgundian forces allied with the English. Her capture was a devastating blow, and she was abandoned by the king she had helped crown. Sold to the English, Joan was imprisoned and isolated from her allies. Her spirit, however, remained unbroken. Even in captivity, Joan's faith and resolve endured. The hopes she had inspired now seemed in jeopardy, yet her story was not yet finished. Joan's trial in Rouen was a political spectacle, designed to destroy her reputation and weaken France. She faced charges of heresy and cross-dressing, but the real goal was to brand her a fraud. The proceedings were rigged, with judges determined to force a confession. Despite her youth, Joan defended herself with courage and intelligence. She refused to betray her beliefs, standing firm under relentless pressure. Ultimately, she was found guilty and sentenced to death. Joan's conviction was a grave injustice, but her dignity never faltered. On May 30, 1431, Joan of Arc was executed in Rouen market square. Her death only strengthened her legacy, transforming her into a martyr for France. In the years that followed, her name became a symbol of hope and resistance. A retrial in 1456 cleared her of all charges, and in 1920, she was canonized as a saint. Joan's story continues to inspire people worldwide. Her courage, faith, and conviction remain timeless. As the patron saint of France, she stands as a beacon of resilience. Joan of Arc proved that one person's faith can change the course of history.